What is going on, Laker fans? What is going on, Laker fans? Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Okay, we got a lot to get into on this beautiful Wednesday afternoon, and I appreciate you guys taking the time to listen to the show. I got three topics that I want to get into. We are in the heart of training camp as we speak. First preseason game is coming up this Saturday. So let's make it happen here, Laker fans. Let's make it happen. If the first time you're on the channel, thank you for being on the channel. Please subscribe if you have not subscribed to the channel. If you continue to come back, welcome back. Subscribe to the damn channel. Okay? All right. Lakers Nuggets, just a kind of quick little preview here. Lakers Nuggets. Everybody chirping here. Everybody chirping. We got the first Lakers preseason game coming up in October 24th, I think. I'm sorry, the first regular season game, October 24th, and already some chirping going on. There's some question marks. Who's going to be the fifth starter for the Lakers? We already know the four starters. We got that last week at the presser with Darvin Ham and Rob Pelinka. So I want to talk about who could potentially be the fifth starter. Lakers have used a couple different guys so far in the first couple of days of training camp. And then the vibe of training camp, the vibe of media day. I was there on Monday, so I kind of want to talk about what was remarkably different, at least from my perspective, compared to a year ago. So we'll get into all that. So, all right, let's get started. Do we got a rivalry going here? We got a rivalry, Lakers Nuggets. I don't know what your guys' definition is of a rivalry, but I'm going to give my definition of a rivalry. It can't be one-sided, right? A rivalry is you got to face each other a couple times, and both sides have to have some W's, right? It can't just be, well, that side always wins and this side never. Okay, well, that doesn't really make it a rivalry. You got to have some skin in the game. You have to have times that both franchises are cross paths, and I think the Lakers and Nuggets at least fit that definition on a short-term basis. 2020, Lakers played the Nuggets in Denver. We know what the Lakers did. They beat the Nuggets in 5 games, went on to win the NBA Finals against the Miami Heat. And then last year, the Nuggets played the Lakers, swept them in the Western Conference Finals, went on to beat the Miami Heat. They won their first championship in franchise history, their first NBA championship. So whether you think it's a rivalry or it's not, I think it is definitely. I think there's a rivalry conversation to be had. What I mean by that is you look at the schedule and you say, "Oh, hey, these two teams are squaring off in the regular season. They got a little bit of history against each other, and that's going to be an interesting, fun matchup." So, whatever your definition of a rivalry is, let me read some quotes here over the last couple of days to try to kind of help spice this up a little bit. So, this came out a little bit earlier today. This was Michael Malone. Okay, let me explain how it all started. First, when the Lakers were in the middle of playing the Denver Nuggets, Michael Malone, this was this past NBA Finals run or this championship run. Michael Malone, there was so much attention going to the Lakers. He just kept saying, "Why do you guys keep talking about the Lakers? What about the Denver Nuggets? You know, nobody's talking about us." And then when they eventually beat the Lakers, there was a little bit of chirping going on. And then when they won the NBA championship, who was it? The broadcaster for one of their guys said that we're the Michael Malone Lakers daddy or something along those lines. Then Michael Malone went on the Pat McAfee show and basically mocked LeBron James. So there's been some back and forth going on. Monday at the Lakers training facility for media day, Anthony Davis talked about how he was on Spectrum Sportsnet, and he said that he found the trash talk from the Denver Nuggets motivational. There was, and I quote, there was just so much of that going on. It was like, all right, we get it. Y'all won. But me and LeBron had some conversations like, we can't wait to play them again. So obviously, he was feeling a certain way. Anthony Davis was. I know Austin Reeves also had some quotes. What was the quotes Austin Reeves had? I think everybody knows it was pointed at us. He's talking about some of the trash talking. They can do it indirectly if they want, but I think it was very obvious to the public eye. That's why everybody was talking about it. He's talking about some of the trash talk that was going on. And then recently, that's right, Darvin Ham was on the This League Uncut podcast. This ish ain't over. He said that about a month ago. And then I think earlier today, Michael Malone said this. He was asked that the Lakers team this week, they said they're motivated by the trash talk. And he said that was what, 4 months ago? I can't speak for anybody in LA, but if they're still worried about us, that's on them. He also said this is a new season, a new challenge, and it was a hell of a series against them. I know it was a 4-0 sweep, but all those games seemed like they went down to the wire. We have tremendous respect for them. I have tremendous respect for Darvin Ham. But yeah, I don't listen to any of that stuff. I don't know what they're saying. And if we're on their minds, then I guess that's on them. Come on now. Got some action here. And I like it. Ultimately, at the end of the day, this isn't one-sided. Lakers won a chip in 2020. Denver won a chip in 2023. Both teams had to go through each other to get there. And there's some chirping going on. Let the chirping happen. I think it is a little bit of a rivalry. I don't think we're going to look at the matchup Lakers and the Nuggets the exact same way we're going to look at some of these other teams. That might be the most exciting matchup of the year. Denver has something the Lakers want. Denver got through the Lakers, swept them to get that NBA championship. So I think there is definitely some good chatter and conversation here between the two franchises. And it's not like no one's blowing it off. Anthony Davis addressed it. Darvin Ham addressed it. LeBron James addressed it. Austin Reeves addressed it. The four main guys, players and coach, all addressed the Denver Nuggets. We got something here. By the way, I'm also under the mantra of this. You guys know I'm a Los Angeles Laker fan. I have a Laker channel here. If you win, you can talk. You're allowed to talk. If Denver was running their mouth, let me give you an example. When Memphis runs their mouth, remember Dylan Brooks running his mouth like, bro, you just look like an idiot. You haven't won. Your squad's never won. You keep running your mouth, and you're hurting your team. If Denver wants to talk, they can. I don't have an issue with it. I think we got a little bit of a rivalry here. So you guys can put on the comments below if you agree with me, disagree with me, if we actually got something here between these two franchises. But it's impossible that anyone who's on this channel, that anyone is consuming Lakers content, is looking at that October 24th matchup, Lakers, Nuggets in Denver, while the Nuggets get their championship rings and put up that banner, and they're not looking at that game a little bit differently. Because all those Laker players seem to be looking at it differently. So does the coaching staff. So I think we should as well. So a little Lakers-Nuggets rivalry. I'm here for it. I like it. I'm feeling it. And I appreciate some of the storylines here. Yeah, the quotes were kind of funny. You know, Michael Malone, he's feeling good about himself. So he's been running his mouth this entire time. Oh, by the way, he did say this. Michael Malone did say this. He says, that's not a rivalry. He's going against basically my theme here. He said, I mean, you can't play a team in the Western Conference Finals twice in the last couple of years and think it's a rivalry. When I think of rivalry, I think Boston, LA. I think of Knicks and Miami back in the day, but I don't welcome it or not welcome it. I'm on 2023, 2024. I'm not living 4 months ago. Yeah, I disagree with him on the rivalries. We just don't have rivalries the way we used to in sports. You know, the chances of you going up against the same team multiple times in the NBA Finals, it's really rare. I mean, LeBron, I know he had his with the Golden State Warriors. But ultimately, that's really, really tough to have. Let me give you an example. Lakers and Spurs, that was a rivalry. They were, and they didn't have to face each other in the finals. That was a rivalry. Lakers and the Kings, they had kind of something going there for, during the Shaq and Kobe days. So I think you could still have rivalries without it being in the NBA Finals, and even if it's only a couple times that you end up facing each other. Okay, let's keep it moving here. So, a couple things has gone on since the last time I did a video. I know I did one recently where it was about the starting lineups. So I got a chance on Thursday. I was down at the Lakers training facility, and Rob Pelinka and Darvin Ham were getting ready to they were talking to the media, and this was kind of like their training camp, preseason presser. So they talked, it was for a good amount of time, maybe about an hour or so. And a couple things happened during that time. One, they were talking about DAngelo Russell, and at some point, they just said, listen, and to kind of end all the chatter and the conversation, DAngelo Russell will be our starter this upcoming year. It was like, okay, wow, that was a little premature and not surprised. I mean, if you guys remember when I was kind of guessing the starters. I put D'Lo in the starting lineup. I thought D'Lo was going to start, but there's so much depth on the team. You just signed Gabe Vincent. I thought, all right, maybe, just maybe, there's going to be some competition. And you know what? Let's not guarantee anybody a spot other than really LeBron, AD, and Austin Reeves are the only three that are guaranteed, not just to start, but most likely be closing out all the games as well. The DAngelo, them going out of their way to say he's going to be our starter. Monday at Media Day, we were sitting there, we get a chance to interview DAngelo Russell as well. D'Lo's sitting, and me and Travis Rogers, who I do the radio show with. Travis is to my left, D'Lo is to my right. We're interviewing D'Lo, and Darvin Ham comes around and he grabs both me and Trav, and he's like, D'Lo, something on those. They really went out of their way to hype up DAngelo Russell in the presser on Thursday, and then also during some of these interviews on Monday. They were going out of their way to talk about D'Lo, and it's like, nope, that's our guy. That's our starting point guard. Now, a couple different ways you could look at it. Number one, first off, DAngelo Russell is a really talented basketball player. He's 27 years old. They just signed him to a deal. I'm sure they want him to feel comfortable. I'm sure they know how important it is that he plays well this upcoming year if the Lakers are going to have the type of success they're looking for. So I think it's smart to be praising the player and everything else. I was a little surprised that they announced the starter, but that was maybe just their way of saying, that's our guy. Let's not have a discussion about this. He's going to be starting games, and that doesn't guarantee he's going to be closing out games, but we'll see how it goes from there. So I started reading some reports, and so right now you know that it's going to be LeBron, it's going to be Anthony Davis, it's going to be Austin Reeves, DAngelo Russell, and there's one more spot left. So I had mentioned that I thought Jackson Hayes would start for the Lakers. And the reason why I thought Jackson Hayes would start is because my thought process is the Lakers are going to try to do something where it's similar to when they had a JaVale McGee type of player, something along those lines, right? That I thought it was going to kind of follow closer to that suit where AD is going to want to play the 4. He doesn't want to play the 5. And then you're going to use that number 5 spot to get a player that just has good size, can help out, be a rim protector. So that was my mentality, my thought process. Read a report yesterday. Jared Vanderbilt was in the starting lineup, and he was in there with LeBron and AD and Reeves and DAngelo Russell. So Jared Vanderbilt, who had some opportunities to start in the postseason, during the regular season as well. So they used Jared Vanderbilt on the first practice. Second practice, which was today, they used Taurean Prince. So today, Dave McMenamin put out a tweet. Taurean Prince got a look with the Lakers starters in day 2 of training camp, joining Bron, AD, Reeves, and DAngelo Russell. So those are 2 players that I thought would be coming off the bench, could still come off the bench. But we'll obviously have to wait and see what the Lakers decide to do. But that's 2 different players, both players that can play that small forward, power forward role for the Lakers, that both started in the first 2 days of practice. Now, I don't know what it means. It could simply mean that the Lakers are going to continue to try to use different players. That's what you use training camp for, and trying to kind of see, okay, what players are going to go well. Are they going to use Rui tomorrow? Are they going to use Jackson Hayes tomorrow? All these guys offer something different. I think it's clear Taurean Prince is more of a 3-and-D guy. Vando is more of a defender, not as much of an offensive player. Rui's more of an offensive player. I still think he's got tremendous potential on the defensive side. So all these guys offer something different. And does this give us a little bit of an idea of who the fifth starter is going to be, or are we just still going to be sitting here for the next week or so to try to figure out, or 2 weeks or so through preseason to figure out who that starter is going to be? I don't think it's that big of a deal. I would personally rather have the size. I'd rather have I'd rather have Jackson Hayes at the 5. And I want to emphasize this. I'm not telling you that that's the best 5. You're going to close the 5 with Anthony Davis playing the number 5 spot. But I think to start out a game, 48-minute stretch, 82-game season, that to have something a little bit more comfortable with what Anthony Davis is looking for, he doesn't have to try to take over the game on defense for 82 games and for 48 minutes, that, he can kind of work his way in as games start. So that's my thought process there. Between Taurean Prince, Jared Vanderbilt, Rui, Jackson Hayes, who should be that fifth starter, especially that we already know that D'Lo, Reeves, LeBron, and AD are the other 4 spots? Feel free to put it in the comments below. Did I mention to subscribe? Subscribe to the channel. Okay. Training camp vibe. You guys remember last year when the season started, Lakers were coming off a 33-win season. Awful year, right? Awful year. And 33 wins for the Lakers, 49 losses. Russell Westbrook does not get traded. I think they signed Patrick Beverley, brought in a couple different guys that they were going to try to see if it would work. And then the Lakers in training camp starts, media day starts. The vibe was weird. The energy was weird. People, want to ask Russ of, hey, are you going to be here long term? What do you think? Have they talked about trading you, this, that, blah, blah, blah. It's just an awful start to the season. Not only did the roster not fit, you had players that probably didn't want to be here. I think they were trying to, as best as they can, figure out what would be the best way to move on for everybody. And long story short, it just it didn't work out. And I think everybody hated the way the vibe was to start the season. Lakers start the season out 2-10, and it didn't get until the very, very end to the trade deadline is when things started to change once the Lakers made their trade. The vibe on Monday, amazing. Great vibe. Guys joking around. I'm cracking jokes with the players. Like, it was a very loose vibe. And it wasn't loose as if they're not expectations. No, they got expectations. They're coming off a Western Conference Finals playoff berth. But it seemed like guys that like each other, that want to be around each other, that there's a nice mix of the respect for the vets. I mean, LeBron and Anthony Davis, those are your 2 pillars. But there's so many younger players beneath them that they will follow. They will follow LeBron and AD and, hey, what do you need us to do? Where do we need to go? We know we're representing the purple and gold. We know we got a talented roster. We're here to try to win games. And here's the beauty with the roster that the Lakers have. They got a lot of guys that have a chip on their shoulder. They have a lot of guys that want to win. They have a lot of guys that feel like they have something to prove. Christian Wood interviewing on Monday, and Christian Wood talking about, listen, I never made the playoffs before. He was talking about some of the reason why he joined the Lakers. I've never made the playoffs before. Christian Wood's on a 1-year deal. D'Lo, Austin Reeves, Rui Hachimura, Jared Vanderbilt, they all have a taste in their mouth again, swept by the Denver Nuggets. You don't think they got something to prove? This roster is also good enough to where I feel like if LeBron or AD misses time, one of those 2 players, they could still win games. That they're not just as dependent as they have been. Listen, come playoff time, they obviously both got to be there. But in the 82-game grind, I think they could still win games. So the vibe at training camp, so much different than it was a year ago. The vibe at media day, so much different. And it feels like, I think AD had said it, it's going to give the Lakers the ability to get a head start rather than start from behind. And I think we all, remember last year, everybody, they were starting from behind the entire time. So those are some of my takeaways early on here in training camp and just my own personal experience of being there for media day. Fun vibe. Lakers Nuggets. That chatter has already started, and who's going to be the fifth starter? I think that's a question that we'll continue to ask. Okay, that's all I got today, whatever you want to call it. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. As soon as I get some other good topics that come from training camp, I'm going to throw these videos back on starting Saturday. Post-game show. We'll continue to get back on the post-game show. Just a bit of news here for those who don't know. And I don't think a lot of people know, but this year for the Lakers broadcast, I'm only going to be doing the pregame show. So that schedule was just crazy. And, it's not built for me to do a morning show and then do the entire Lakers broadcast and then come back in and do the morning show. So this year it's going to be a little bit more reasonable with my schedule. So I'm going to do, obviously the show I do in the mornings on radio, and then I'm going to do the pregame show that I do as well. And I won't be doing the official postgame show, on radio, but I will still be doing my postgame show right here on YouTube. So my first reaction and everything else is going to be right here with you guys. So looking forward to that. And looking forward to this upcoming season. I got some good plans with the channel. I'm going to continue to try to grow it, and I appreciate everybody's support. So I'll be back soon. Please subscribe to the channel and hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Thanks, Lakers.